A. Healthcare professionals.
Many professionals are trained to help people stay healthy and to treat health problems. Primary care is provided by the doctors, also known as physicians, or nurses, who the patient goes to first when they have a problem. This may happen at the doctor's surgery, or sometimes during a home visit. A locum is a doctor who does the job of another doctor who is ill or on holiday. Most medical care, whether it is for an acute condition or a chronic condition, is provided through the primary care system. Secondary care is provided by specialists in special clinics or hospitals. Patients are referred to a specialist by their doctor. These may specialise, for example, in a particular organ or a specific age group. Specialists include, among many others, ophthalmologists, eyes, cardiologists, heart, psychiatrists, the mind, dermatologists, skin, gynecologists, women's reproductive systems, obstetricians, pregnancy and childbirth, paediatricians, children, and anaesthetists, anaesthesia, or stopping people from feeling pain during surgery. There are also healthcare workers who focus on what is sometimes referred to as alternative medicine or complementary medicine, including acupuncturists, chiropractors, homeopathic doctors, and aromatherapists.
B. Health systems.
In Britain, healthcare is paid for through taxes and national insurance payments taken directly from wages and salaries. The government decides how much will be spent on the National Health Service, but a lot of people feel they do not spend enough. Hospital treatment and visits to a family doctor or GP at a surgery or clinic are free, but there is often a prescription charge. Private healthcare is available, and a large number of insurance schemes exist to enable people to go private.
A. Feeling unwell.
Some informal expressions that mean not well, but not seriously ill.
You look a bit off colour today. Are you all right?
I'm just feeling a bit out of sorts. It's nothing to worry about.
I was feeling a bit under the weather, so I stayed at home yesterday.
Katie's been feeling poorly for a while.
I'm fighting off a cold at the moment.
Rani isn't in today. She's gone down with flu.
I'm not going to work today. I've come down with a dreadful cold.
Harry suffers from hay fever and sneezes a lot if he's near grass or flowers. B. Minor health problems.
Note that hurt is different from ache. For example, my arm hurts where I banged it against the car door. My back aches after all that digging yesterday. The fixed expression, the usual aches and pains, is often used to refer in a non-serious way to minor problems. For example, Mum's feeling fine apart from the usual aches and pains. The fixed expression cuts and bruises can refer to minor injuries. For example, Jason had a few cuts and bruises when he fell off his bike, nothing serious. Some other kinds of physical discomfort. My hand's been stinging ever since I touched that plant. My head is throbbing. I have a stiff neck from sitting in a draft yesterday. She tripped on the uneven pavement and twisted her ankle. I feel a bit dizzy. I think I should sit down. She was a bit feverish this morning, so I told her to stay in bed. I feel quite shivery. I feel quite hot and cold. I think I must have a temperature. I've had a lot of sleepless nights recently. I had a terrible nauseous feeling after taking the medicine, but it passed. He was trembling all over. I knew it must be something serious. My nose is all bunged up today with this horrible cold.
C. Getting better.
I had a virus last week, but I got over it quite quickly.
Joe's recovering from a major operation.
Dan felt terrible last week, but he's on the mend now.
It's taking Hania some time to recover from her accident, but she's over the worst now.
She'll be back on her feet again soon.
A. Medical information leaflets.
Read this extract from a leaflet included in a packet of painkillers.
Before taking this medicine, talk to your doctor or pharmacist if you are taking low-dose aspirin up to 75 milligrams daily, suffer from asthma or have a past history of asthma, have a connective tissue disorder, have a history of gastrointestinal disease or suffer from bowel problems, are elderly as it increases the risk of adverse reactions, have heart problems, have had a previous stroke or think you might be at risk of these conditions. Do not exceed the stated dose or duration of treatment. Like all medicines, these tablets may sometimes cause side effects, though not everybody gets them. Stop taking this medicine and seek medical help if you suffer from any of the following: allergic reactions, are sick and it contains blood or dark particles that look like coffee grounds, pass blood in your stools, stiff neck, headache, feeling sick, nausea, being sick, vomiting, fever and disorientation, not knowing where you are.
B. Medical metaphors. Social and other problems are often talked about as if they were illnesses. For example, the current spate of car thefts is a symptom of a deeper underlying problem. This behaviour is symptomatic of his general lack of self-confidence. The causes of a problem can be diagnosed, and the outlook for a situation can also be referred to as the prognosis.
The medical meaning of the key word is given in brackets before the examples below.
Ailing, unwell, sickly. For example, an ailing organisation. The economy has been ailing for some time, but there are hopes of a recovery soon. Rash, a lot of small red spots on the skin. For example, a rash of burglaries. Fever, high temperature. For example, World Cup fever, election fever. At fever pitch, to reach fever pitch. For example, with a week to go before Anne's wedding, preparations had reached fever pitch. Jaundiced, yellow-looking skin because of a liver problem. For example, experts in the history of the area take a rather jaundiced view of the likely success of the peace talks. Scar, mark left on skin after an injury such as a cut. Carry the scars of, or be scarred by. For example, I'm afraid that children will always be scarred by experiencing war at a young age. Infect, pass on an illness. For example, I hope Helen's enthusiasm will infect everyone else.
Pulse means regular beating of heart. For example, as felt on wrist.
For example, that journalist really has his finger on the pulse of public opinion. A healthy heart.
Our arteries circulate blood around the body and are essential to good health. But the blood flow can be impeded by fatty plaque that can clog them. The production of plaque is associated with high levels of cholesterol, and clogged blood vessels can lead to a heart attack or a stroke. Some foods, such as eggs and shellfish, while nutritious, are also cholesterol-rich, but if eaten in moderation, do not significantly raise cholesterol levels or pose a danger. Bad cholesterol is counteracted by fibre in our diet, and a high-fibre diet is often recommended by health experts. Fibre causes less fat to be absorbed by the blood vessels. Fibre-rich foods include fruit, vegetables, lentils, oatmeal, potatoes, and wholemeal bread.
B. Exercise and calories.
One of the most efficient forms of cardiovascular exercise is running or fast walking, which have been proved to have a positive effect in reducing cholesterol levels. This type of exercise lowers your blood pressure and can help diabetics too, by helping their insulin work more effectively. Running or jogging is also a great way to burn calories, and you don't have to be excessively sporty to do it. Based on a calculation of your body weight in relation to the time you devote to an activity, a person who weighs 63 kilos can burn 148 calories by jogging for 20 minutes. The same person doing half an hour of cycling at 25 kilometers per hour could burn more than 330 calories. Exercise can also speed up your metabolism, which helps you to burn calories more quickly. This can help to lower your BMI to a healthy level. If you're intent on losing weight, running, brisk walking and fast cycling are excellent ways of doing so.
C. Sport and fitness metaphors. I scored an own goal when I told my boss it had only taken me a day to write the report. Now she wants me to write several a week.
My boss always seems to be moving the goalposts, which makes it very difficult to know what he wants.
The new EU laws aim to provide a level playing field for all member states.
He's too young to be in the running for such a job.
The two main parties in the election are still neck and neck in the opinion polls.
Politicians often skate around a subject.
The students all sailed through their exams.
A. Industries and industrial practices.
Heavy industry, for example, steelworks, shipbuilding. Light industry, for example, manufacturing car parts, TV sets. Manufacturing industry, making things, for example, consumer goods. Service industry, serving people, for example, tourism, banking. High technology, high tech, informal. Involving computers, for example, software industry. Low technology, low tech, informal. Involving little or no computer technology. Cutting edge technology, involving new and innovative technology. Conventional technology, using standard, proven technology. Privatization, for example, selling off state railways to private companies. Nationalization or state ownership, when industry is owned by the government.
Many big industries are run as public-private partnerships.
The nuclear industry receives a huge subsidy from the government.
The government tries to encourage inward investment. B. Industrial practices.
Most of the factory workers are on piecework. They are only paid for the amount they produce. Many people now work on 0 hours contracts, which means they have no job security. They are employed by a company, but the number of hours they work each week may vary, and some weeks there may be no work for them, so they receive no pay. Child labour is a serious problem in some countries. Child labour, the employment of children to do adult jobs. In many countries, the right to trade union representation has only come after long struggles. Trade union, a union that negotiates wages and conditions for the people it represents. Many cheap electrical goods are produced in sweatshops in poorer countries. Sweatshops, factories where people work very long hours for low wages. Retraining and reskilling are necessary when an economy is modernized. Retraining and reskilling. Training people for new jobs and teaching them new skills.
The big multinationals often close factories as a cost-cutting exercise and relocate and switch production to countries where labour and costs are cheaper.
In many cases, components for cars are imported and then assembled rather than manufactured in the country.
A. Technological advances affecting daily life.
Digital technology. Digital photography, digital video and audio recording. Digital broadcasting. For example, the sound quality of a digital voice recorder is superior to that of an analog one. Wi-Fi. A system for connecting electronic devices to the internet without using wires. For example, the hotel has Wi-Fi in every room. Satellite communications. Satellite navigation, sat-nav systems, mobile phones. For example, she doesn't use a road map now because her new car has GPS, global positioning system, built in, so she gave me her old plug-in sat-nav. Biotechnology. Genetic modification of plants. For example, biotechnology companies are experimenting with new disease-resistant crops for farmers. Artificial intelligence, AI. Automatic translation, identification systems. For example, scientists working in AI are hoping to create computers that will be more and more like the human brain. Ergonomics. Design of environments so people can work efficiently and comfortably. For example, this car has ergonomically designed seats. Bluetooth. Connecting electronic devices to each other with no wires. For example, my car has Bluetooth, so I can connect my phone to the speakers.
B. How much of a techie are you? Today, we are all to some degree dependent on technology. How many of these things do you own or use?
A smartphone. A hands-free earpiece and microphone for your mobile. A smart ID card for entering your workplace or college. A laptop computer or notebook. A desktop computer for the home or office. An MP3 player. A games console. A tablet using a touchscreen such as an iPad. An e-reader such as a Kindle. An interactive flat-screen TV. A router to let you connect to the internet from different devices.
A. Technology. Here are some things we are likely to see more of in the future.
Smart buildings or homes. Computer-controlled buildings and homes where things like lighting, heating, security, and so on are completely automatic. The adjective smart can be used for anything that uses computers or information stored in electronic form. For example, a smartphone, smart TV, smart car. Interplanetary travel and space tourism. Travel to planets in outer space, either for exploration or for tourism. Nanotechnology. Science of developing and producing extremely small tools and machines by controlling the arrangement of atoms and molecules. Keyhole surgery. Medical operation in which a very small hole is made in a person's body to reach the organ or tissue inside.
B. The environment and nature.
A doomsday scenario for the environment sees our destiny as a world choked with pollution, where many plants and animals have become extinct.
Many experts foresee a situation where traffic in megacities becomes completely gridlocked.
The population explosion may lead to widespread food and water shortages.
Genetic modification or engineering is already used to change fruit and vegetables so that they grow better. However, many people object to the idea of genetically modified or GM food or crops.
Gene therapy will be used to eradicate some diseases, thanks to our knowledge of the human genome.
Some people envisage a world in which designer babies will be popular.
Cloning of animals, and even human beings, may become common.
C. Society and people.
The breakdown of the traditional family structure has already occurred in some countries. In future, the nuclear family may no longer be the main type of family unit, and more loosely defined relationships will develop. Globalization will increase, affecting how things are produced and sold, what we buy, and how we communicate. The world has become a global village, and we will have more and more contact with other people in it. We may even make contact with extraterrestrial beings. The gulf between rich and poor nations will widen if we do not take drastic measures now to improve the situation.
A. Fossil fuels.
Fossil fuels are sources of energy which were formed underground from plant and animal remains millions of years ago.
Several new oil wells were constructed in the desert last year.
Offshore drilling platforms explore the ocean bed for oil and gas.
Older coal-fired power stations generally cause high levels of pollution.
The coal mines in the north of the country are no longer profitable.
A new gas pipeline was built to bring cheaper energy to the capital city.
B. Renewable energy.
Renewable energy is energy that can be produced again as quickly as it is used.
Onshore wind farms to get new government subsidies.
Solar panels to be installed on all government buildings.
Hydroelectric power station to be closed down.
Biomass not the answer, claims Energy Minister.
Tidal power and wave power may meet future energy needs.
Government to focus on renewables, Minister announces.
3 new nuclear power stations to be built.
Geothermal energy will last 1,000 years, says scientist.
C. Using energy.
What can ordinary citizens do to reduce energy consumption? Some simple things include using fewer power-hungry appliances around the home, monitoring your use of electricity, and consuming less energy by switching off unnecessary lights and entertainment systems that use power while on standby. Is your car a gas guzzler? Think about changing to a more energy-efficient model. Think more about food miles and buy local products so that fuel consumption in the transporting of goods is reduced. We can also reduce our carbon footprint by planning travel more carefully and cutting out unnecessary journeys. Remember, the world's coal, oil and gas deposits are finite. One day they will run out. So think now about what you can do to consume less.
A. Things occupying a lot of space.
Extensive. Edinburgh has extensive traffic-free routes. The building contains extensive educational facilities. Spacious. A spacious garden. The city of Washington is spacious and green. Roomy. A roomy car. The house was roomy. Rambling. A large rambling building. A rambling mansion.
I like Canada because I love wide open spaces.
Little white cottages were scattered across the landscape.
The problem with this university is that the buildings are rather spread out, and it takes a long time to get from one place to another.
Jack's bedroom is large, with ample room for all his things.
B. Insufficient space or things occupying too small a space.
Cramped. Cramped hotel rooms. Living in small, cramped apartments. Pokey. Informal. 2 pokey little rooms. A pokey little flat. Congested. Tanker traffic on the congested waterway. The congested streets. Compact. A tiny, compact refrigerator. A compact, low, white villa.
C. Other words and expressions.
I saw her at the carnival, but I couldn't get to her because I was hemmed in by the crowds.
The city centre is always bustling with tourists at this time of year.
There isn't enough room to swing a cat in his flat.
We were packed in like sardines on the bus.
The government offices are an absolute labyrinth.
The river marks the boundary of the estate.
We created more space by building an extension at the rear of our property.
In these conversations, Speaker B paraphrases what Speaker A says. Note the verbs in bold.
There were 16 of us in a minibus that seated 10, and it was a long journey.
Yes, we were all crammed into that tiny space for over 5 hours.
There's not much room, is there? Can I sit between you and Mark?
Yes, you can squeeze in between us.
You've invited a lot of people to your party, and it's only a small room.
Yes, it might be a bit of a squash.
Shall I put all those old papers into this rubbish bag?
Yes, just stuff them all in and we'll take it away later.
A. Informal expressions relating to time.
We only meet once in a blue moon.
He's spent all his born days in the village.
I'll be with you in a mo. I'll be with you in a sec. I'll be with you in a tick. I'll be with you in less than no time. I'll be with you in a jiffy.
Clive's been working here for donkey's years. Clive's been working here since the year dot.
We can talk about this till the cows come home, but I'm not going to change my mind.
Are you sure she gave you the book for keeps? Are you sure she gave you the book for good?
She turned up just in the nick of time. She very nearly missed the train.
He was a famous athlete, but now he's over the hill. He was a famous athlete, but now he's past it.
She was a child film star, but was already a has-been by the age of 20.
Sue did her homework in a flash. Sue did her homework at a rate of knots.
B. Adjectives relating to the passing of time.
Fleeting, brief or quick. Common collocations: glimpse, visit, smile, moment, appearance. Lengthy. Continuing for a long time. Common collocations: process, investigation, discussions, negotiations, delays. Transient. Lasting for only a short time. Common collocations: effect, population, feeling, pleasure. Persistent. Lasting for a long time or hard to stop or get rid of. Common collocations: cough, problems, rumour, smell, accusations, critic, offender, failure, gossip. Inexorable. Continuing without hope of being stopped. Common collocations: rise, slide, decline, pressure, advance of time. Incipient. Just beginning. Common collocations: panic, rage, rebellion, stages, wrinkles, dementia. Protracted. Lasting for a long time or made to last longer. Common collocations: negotiations, discussions, argument. Lingering, taking a long time to leave or disappear. Common collocations: perfume, kiss, smile.
C. Other useful time words.
Terrorists carried out simultaneous attacks on 3 places in the capital.
Schools were closed for the duration of the President's visit.
We shouldn't prolong the meeting. We've already discussed the matter for an hour.
I'm sorry, I can't change the date at such short notice.
The teacher repeatedly warned the student that she would fail her exam.
A. Verbs of movement.
Limp, uneven. Reason, one leg hurts. Hop, on one foot quickly. Reason, not using one foot. Stagger, unsteady. Reason, drunk, ill. Stumble, nearly falling. Reason, uneven surface. Lurch, sudden or irregular. Reason, drunk, ill, walking on moving ship, etc. Tiptoe, quiet and on toes. Reason, not to be heard. Amble, easy, gentle. Reason, pleasure or relaxation, no special aim. Stride, long steps. Reason, purposeful. Strut, proud, chest held out. Reason, to look important. Tramp, firm, heavy steps. Reason, walking for a long time. Trample, pressing repeatedly with feet. Reason, often wishing to destroy. Stamp, pushing foot down heavily. Reason, anger, or just heavy-footed. Trudge, heavy, slow, with difficulty. Reason, tired. Chase, quickly. Reason, wanting to catch something or someone.
B. Metaphorical examples of motion.
The maths lesson limped to a conclusion, and everyone thankfully left the room.
Let's hop off the bus at the next stop.
Miguel's business staggered on for a few years and then finally collapsed.
Lisa did staggeringly well in her exams.
The government has lurched from one economic crisis to the next.
Maria takes everything that life throws at her in her stride.
Parents and teachers should try not to trample on children's dreams.
If the Campbells don't pay their bill this week, you'll have to chase them.
After several stumbling attempts at writing, Theo finally had a poem published.
C. People and water move in similar ways.
Crowds of tourists flowed across the square all day long.
As soon as the school doors opened, children spilled out into the playground.
People streamed into the lecture hall, and soon there was standing room only.
People have been pouring into the exhibition all day.
A trickle of people appeared outside, and by midday a crowd had gathered.
We meandered round the town, window shopping to our heart's content.
Refugees have been flooding across the border since the start of the war.
D. Taking steps. When you walk, you take footsteps or steps. Here are some adjectives often used with taking a step or steps in a metaphorical context.
Backward. Big. Critical. Decisive. First. Giant. Major. Significant. Unprecedented.
A. Manners. Courtesy is still important nowadays.
The teacher said her students were always very courteous.
She addressed the customer in a very discourteous manner.
I hope I didn't appear offhand with her. It's just that I was in such a hurry.
The boy had an insolent expression on his face which irritated me.
What's the etiquette at a traditional Chinese wedding? Do you know? I've had an invitation to one.
Here, have a seat. Relax. There's no need to stand on ceremony.
My elderly uncle and aunt are both rather straight-laced.
Asking for more food at a formal dinner party is just not the done thing.
When taking part in online discussions, always follow netiquette and keep your comments brief.
B. Body language and non-verbal language.
Research shows that we communicate more through body language and non-verbal noises than we are aware. Here are some examples of how we indicate emotion through our non-verbal behaviour. Raise your eyebrows. Indicates surprise or shock. Either a person or behaviour can raise eyebrows. Twitch. Indicates nervousness. Repeated small movements with part of the body. Flinch. Indicates pain or fear. Sudden small movement. Squirm. Indicates embarrassment or nervousness. Move from side to side in an awkward way. Smirk. Indicates self-satisfaction. Smile. Negative associations. Beam. Indicates happiness. Broad smile. Positive associations. Sniff at something. Indicates disapproval. Breathe air in through your nose in a way that makes a noise. Snort. Indicates disgust or great amusement. Make an explosive sound by forcing air quickly up or down your nose. Titter. Indicates nervousness or embarrassment. Small laugh.
A. Adjectives indicating lack of sound and their collocations.
Silent, without noise or not talking. Used for people and things that are perhaps unexpectedly or surprisingly quiet. For example, they asked him several questions but he remained silent. The house was completely silent. Silent films or movies. Quiet. Without much noise or activity or not talking much. For example, it's very quiet here at night. I had a quiet day at work. My dad was a quiet man. Noiseless. Without noise, usually used as an adverb in formal or literary style. For example, he closed the door noiselessly behind him. Soundless. Without sound. Usually used as an adverb in formal or literary style to indicate an unexpected lack of sound. For example, the object vanished soundlessly into the night sky. Was it an alien spacecraft?
B. Verbs for describing specific noises. The door slammed in the strong wind.
My bike wheel is squeaking. I need to get some oil.
We could hear our neighbour's favourite rock music pounding through the walls.
The old wooden door creaked as I opened it.
The sausages sizzled in the frying pan and smelt delicious.
A shot rang out and the bird fell from the sky.
From our cottage we could hear the waves crashing on the beach below.
He always hoots his horn to let us know he's arrived. He always toots his horn to let us know he's arrived.
I could hear police car sirens wailing all last night.
She hammered at the door, but nobody answered.
C. Some adjectives for noise and silence. There was an eerie silence in the old church.
The noise of the aircraft engines was deafening.
He has one of those grating voices that gets on my nerves.
She let out a piercing scream and fled as fast as she could.
Zara has a very high-pitched voice. It can be a bit irritating at times.
The recording was very faint, almost inaudible.
D. Some fixed expressions connected with noise and silence. Everyone was so shocked and silent, you could have heard a pin drop.
Hey, you kids! Be quiet! I can't hear myself think.
I need peace and quiet after a busy day at work.
You're as quiet as a mouse. I didn't hear you come in at all.
A. Synonyms for heavy.
There are a number of adjectives similar in meaning to heavy. Note their typical contexts. Weighty. Abstract and physical things. Usually includes the idea of seriousness. For example, a weighty tome. Discuss weighty issues. Unwieldy. Abstract and physical things. Usually includes the idea of difficult to handle. For example, unwieldy system or bureaucracy. An unwieldy object, e.g., a big box. Cumbersome. Often used for machines and equipment that are difficult to handle. Also used for systems, structures, etc. For example, a cumbersome weapon, a cumbersome process. Burdensome. Usually used of abstract things. For example, a burdensome duty. Ponderous. Slow and clumsy because of weight, but usually used for dull and excessively serious abstract things. For example, a ponderous style, e.g., way of writing or speaking. A ponderous thesis. Lumbering. Usually used of physical things, often suggesting heavy movement. For example, a lumbering truck, a lumbering bear.
B. Phrasal verbs with weigh. I hate being weighed down with heavy suitcases when I travel.
She looked tired and weighed down with problems.
We'll have to weigh up the alternatives before deciding.
She weighed out a kilo of nuts and put them in a bag.
I have to confess something to you. It's been weighing on me for ages.
The discussion was getting heated, and then Kate weighed in with some uncomfortable financial arguments.
C. Making things more or less dense. You can put some flour in to thicken the soup, but you should sift it first or it will go lumpy.
The soup has been in the fridge so long it's all congealed.
This curry powder is years old. It has completely solidified in the packet.
Do you have some white spirit? I need to thin this paint.
As the rush hour ended, the traffic began to thin out.
The hairdresser thinned my hair out and it feels much lighter now.
This fruit juice is very strong. Let's dilute it a bit. Let's water it down a bit.
D. Adjectives connected with density.
Many of the words above can be used both literally and metaphorically. More examples are impenetrable, impossible to move through. Literal use, an impenetrable jungle or forest. Metaphorical use, impenetrable jargon. Impervious to, liquid cannot pass through. Literal use, an impervious material. For example, glass. Metaphorical use, a person who is impervious to criticism.
A. Words and expressions for specific colours.
Pitch black, intensely black, used about darkness, night, and so on. Jet black, Intensely black, used about hair, eyes, and so on. Scarlet, very bright red. Crimson, strong, deep red. Shocking pink, an extremely bright pink. Ginger, orangey red, used about hair and animal fur. Navy, dark blue, used about clothes, not eyes. Turquoise, greenish blue, used about fabrics, paint, sea, and so on, but not usually eyes. Lime, a bright yellowish green. Beige, a light creamy brown. Mousy, a light not very interesting brown, used only about hair. Chestnut, a deep reddish brown, used about hair and horses. Auburn, a red-brown colour, usually used about hair. A number of words for gemstones are also used as colour adjectives. For example, ruby, emerald, amber, coral, sapphire, jade.
B. Words for talking about colour. Red, blue and yellow are primary colours. By mixing them together you can make other colours. Pastel colours are pale shades of colour. Pink, mauve and pale yellow, for example. Strong colours are the opposite of pastels. Harsh colours are colours that are unpleasantly strong. Vivid colours are strong, bright colours, like scarlet or turquoise. Fluorescent colours are very bright colours which seem to glow in the dark. Electric blues or greens are extremely bright blues or greens. If white has a tinge of green, there is a very slight shade of green in it. If something is monochrome, it uses only one, or shades of one, colour. For example, black, white, and grey. The suffixes y and ish show that a colour is partly present. For example, bluey green, reddish brown. C. Colour metaphors.
Blue. Depression. To feel blue. Physical or unskilled. Blue-collar workers. Red. Anger. To see red, to be very angry. Danger. Red alert, a red flag. Special importance. For example, all the competitors were given the red carpet treatment. The day we met will always be a red-letter day for me. Communist or very left-wing in politics. For example, people's views sometimes become less red as they get older. Green. Nausea. To look green. For example, people who are seasick often turn or go green and sometimes vomit. Envy. For example, she turned green with envy when she saw her friend's new car. Care for the environment. For example, green tourism. The Green Party. Black. Depressing or without hope. A black future. Anger. To look as black as thunder. Illegality or incorrectness. Black market, black sheep of the family, black mark. For example, during the war, people bought many goods illegally on the black market. If I don't finish this report in time, that'll be another black mark against my name. My brother was the black sheep of the family, leaving school and home at the earliest opportunity. Grey. Lack of clarity. A grey area. Brains. Grey matter. Grey cells. White. Purity. White as snow, whiter than white. Being pale, for example, she was so shocked that she went white as a sheet. A white-knuckle ride at an amusement park such as Disneyland. Office workers. white-collar workers.
A. Going fast. These verbs suggest going somewhere very quickly on foot or in a vehicle. Dash, fly, race, tear. I dashed into the classroom to pick up my books.
She came flying out of her house.
I raced to the station and just made it in time for the last train. I tore to the station and just made it in time for the last train.
The verbs nip and pop suggest going a short distance quickly, on foot or in a vehicle.
I nipped into a nearby shop to buy a bottle of water. I popped into a nearby shop to buy a bottle of water.
The verb dart suggests a quick, sudden movement, often by an animal. A dragonfly darted past.
I darted behind the door to hide.
The verbs zip and whiz are often used about vehicles going quickly.
The bus whizzed past me just as I got to the bus stop. The bus zipped past me just as I got to the bus stop.
The verb bolt also suggests fast movement over a short distance, but it also has the added association of running away from something.
The thieves bolted when the alarm went off.
The verb career suggests that something is moving rapidly and is out of control. The car skidded and careered down a bank.
The company seems to be careering into financial ruin.
The verbs scamper, scurry, scuttle suggest small rapid steps, often used to describe the way a small animal runs.
As we went into the dark shed, we saw mice scampering away and spiders scurrying into corners.
Cockroaches scuttled into a crack in the floor.
These verbs emphasize the fact that speed is increasing. Speed up, accelerate. Accelerate is used only about transport, whereas speed up can also refer to movement on foot. Both verbs can be used figuratively. We'd better speed up if we're going to get there on time.
The growth of the company has accelerated since it started exporting.
B. Going up or down fast. These verbs suggest a downward movement as well as speed. Plunge, plummet. He put on a life jacket and plunged into the icy water. Notice that they are mainly used metaphorically.
When export sales began to decline, our hopes of business success plummeted.
After the death of his father, he was plunged into despair.
These verbs suggest a fast upward movement. Rocket, soar. Notice that they are mainly used metaphorically and have strong associations with financial matters such as prices and share values.
When our export sales rocketed, our hopes soared.
The primary association of soar is with birds, and when it is used about people's feelings, it provides associations of happiness and being carefree. My heart soared when I heard that he was coming home. The opposite of soar and rocket in a financial context would be slump or tumble. Both suggest a rapid downward movement.
Share prices slumped on the stock market yesterday, with telecommunications companies tumbling most dramatically of all. Share prices plummeted on the stock market yesterday, with telecommunications companies tumbling most dramatically of all.
C. Going slowly. These intransitive verbs emphasize that the movement is slow. Crawl, creep. They are often used metaphorically.
Prices have been creeping up since May.
It was rush hour and the traffic was crawling along. Totter also suggests a fairly slow movement, but it is one that is particularly unsteady as well.
Mina tottered down the road laden with parcels and bags.
Sidle means to walk anxiously and nervously.
Sam sidled up to the boss's desk and coughed to attract his attention.
Dawdle means to move more slowly than is necessary or to waste time.
Don't dawdle on the way home.
A. Cause verbs and their collocations. The differences between these verbs are best learned by observing their typical collocations.
Cause. Cause usually collocates with negative results and situations. For example, the new computer system has caused us a lot of problems. His stomach cancer was caused by exposure to radiation. Collocations. Sadness or unhappiness. A lot of, trouble or problems. An illness, for example, pneumonia. A disaster or an accident. Produce. Produce is more neutral and deals with more concrete results. It is used in formal contexts. For example, scientists can produce statistics and figures that can prove almost anything. Cooking the dish for a long time at a very low heat produces the best results. Collocations. A report. Statistics or figures. Good results or evidence. Give. While cause usually collocates with negative situations, give can be used for positive or negative ones. Give is less formal than cause. For example, our dog has given us a lot of pleasure over the years. This car is giving me so much trouble, I'm going to get rid of it. Collocations. A lot of. Pleasure or happiness. A reason or motivation for something. A lot of trouble. Good results. Generate. Generate is often used in contexts where people are forced to do more than usual, and in computer contexts. It sometimes has a rather negative feel. It is used in formal contexts. For example, it's going to be difficult to generate sufficient interest in the project. The government will have to generate the extra funds somehow or other. Collocations. Revenue or income or money. Complaints or extra work or controversy. Graphics or documents. Interest or enthusiasm or publicity.
B. Other cause words.
The news provoked a feeling of despair in everyone.
The events precipitated a political crisis. The events sparked a political crisis.
The invention of the car brought about great changes in society.
Your action has resulted in a formal complaint from a member of the public.
His problems stem from his difficult childhood.
Have you any grounds for suspecting him?
The proposal has implications for traffic in the area.
My argument is based on the available data.
A. Talking about similarity.
I often feel there is a cultural affinity between London and New York. I felt an affinity with the writer as I read this novel.
Closeness. Similarity. Feeling that different things, or people, have much in common.
Her singing is more akin to that of Rihanna than Adele.
Similar in spirit or feel.
To use a sporting analogy, middle age is like half-time at a football match.
See similarities that help us understand something.
The picture this news article paints does not correspond to the truth.
Is not equal to or does not match.
It's a mistake to equate the price of something with its true value.
Consider as the same.
She knew that to apologise would be tantamount to admitting she had failed.
The equivalent of. Normally used in negative contexts.
The goals of the two sides in the war have become almost interchangeable.
So similar that they could be exchanged one for the other.
Mrs. Burton's house was indistinguishable from all the others in the street.
So similar you cannot see the difference.
B. Talking about difference. Adjectives beginning with DI.
The diverse ethnic groups living in Malaysia give the country its cultural richness.
Used to show a group is made up of different types of something.
The disparate regions of Spain all have unique customs and cultures.
Used for different types within a group, but emphasizes separation and difference.
This house is not dissimilar to the one I was born in.
Very often used with not.
They have widely divergent opinions.
Often used to show contrasting opinions or ideas within a group.
The Swedish and Norwegian languages are quite distinct from one another, even though they look similar when written.
Used to describe differences where one might be deceived by similarities.
It's easy to find our car in a car park because of its distinctive colour.
Used to describe something that is easy to recognize because it is different.
There are several discrete categories of verbs in English.
Different and separate, not overlapping. Note the verbs associated with some of the adjectives above. To differentiate, to diversify, to diverge, to distinguish. A. Nouns relating to difficulties.
Fairly small difficulties. A snag, a hitch, a glitch. Glitch usually refers to a technical problem of some kind. The other two words are more general. More important difficulties. A setback means that progress has been stopped by something. A stumbling block is something that prevents action or agreement. A pitfall is an unexpected difficulty, often used in the plural. An obstacle is anything that stops progress, either literally or metaphorically. An impediment is something that prevents free action, progress, or movement. A dilemma is a situation where a difficult choice has to be made between two, sometimes unpleasant alternatives. An ordeal is a severe experience, which is very difficult, painful, or tiring.
B. Adjectives relating to difficulty.
Problematic. Full of problems or difficulties. Collocations, relationship, situation, concept. Abstruse. Difficult to understand. Collocations, theory, argument, philosopher. Arduous. Difficult, tiring, needing much effort. Collocations, climb, task, journey. Complex. Difficult to understand as it has many parts. Collocations, issue, problem, theory, process. Convoluted. Unreasonably long and hard to follow. Collocations, explanation, sentences, theory. Grueling. Extremely tiring and difficult. Collocations, journey, work, match, expedition. Insufferable. Difficult to bear as it is annoying or uncomfortable. Collocations, behavior, heat, boredom, pain, person. Obstructive. Causing deliberate difficulties. Collocations. Person, measure, behaviour. Tough. Difficult to deal with or do. Collocations. Time, job, climate, decision. Traumatic. Shocking and upsetting. Collocations. Experience, past, childhood. Wayward. Changeable, selfish and or hard to control. Collocations. Behaviour. Child. Person.
C. Informal expressions relating to difficulties.
Oh dear, more homework. What a pain. Oh dear, more homework. What a drag.
The software is good for editing still images, but editing video is a real chore.
What's eating him? What's got into him? What's bugging him? What's up with him?
I can't face the hassle of moving house again.
My daughter keeps hassling me for a new bike.
Having to listen to him singing is sheer torture.
To slog your guts out. To grind. To graft. To flog yourself to death.
In a fix. In a spot. In a hole. Up against it. Up to your neck.
The company's in a sticky situation now the workers are going to strike. The company's in a tricky situation now the workers are going to strike.
I think I'm off the hook now. I think I'm in the clear now. I think I'm out of the woods now.
The downside of living here is the traffic thundering by.
A. Expressions based on modal verbs.
I must admit that I didn't enjoy the film. I must confess that I didn't enjoy the film. I must say that I didn't enjoy the film.
You want me to lend you £1,000? You must be joking.
You must have been frightened when you heard the news. You must have been worried when you heard the news. You must have been nervous when you heard the news. You must have been delighted when you heard the news. You must have been overjoyed when you heard the news.
Don't look so miserable. It may well never happen. Don't look so miserable. It might well never happen.
What, may I ask, was the point of throwing your pen on the floor like that? What, might I ask, was the point of throwing your pen on the floor like that?
I was just strolling through the park when who should I see but my boss? I was just strolling through the park when who should I meet but my boss? I was just strolling through the park when who should I bump into but my boss?
Don't worry about spilling the wine. Accidents will happen.
The car won't start. What can I do?
That'll be Sean making that noise. He always plays his music very loudly. Why are you so gloomy? The interview didn't go badly. You might well be offered the job, you never know.
I should be so lucky. All the other candidates were better qualified.
B. Ways of expressing probability.
The odds are he'll get the job.
The odds are against her passing the exam.
They are bound to get married in the end.
She's unquestionably the best student in the class.
It was apparent that the negotiations were going badly.
She'll be here by 5 o'clock for sure.
In all probability, we'll get the job finished on time.
If you are not highly disciplined when you go on a diet, the chances are you won't succeed.
There's every likelihood that the price of petrol will rise soon.
C. Ways of expressing obligation and lack of obligation.
It is essential that you should take strong footwear with you.
Wearing a safety helmet is obligatory in this area.
The road was blocked. We had no option but to turn back.
We have an obligation to preserve the school's good name.
Some courses are optional, but maths and English are compulsory.
D. Ways of expressing a desire to do something.
I am determined to do whatever I can to help. I am anxious to do whatever I can to help. I am eager to do whatever I can to help. I am keen to do whatever I can to help. I am resolved to do whatever I can to help.
He wishes to return home. He desires to return home. He yearns to return home. He longs to return home.
She has ambitions to become Prime Minister. She has aspirations to become Prime Minister.
A. Changes in numbers and quantities.
During the 5 years 2010 to 2015, internet use across the world was estimated to have increased twofold, while in China it quadrupled. In the developing world, internet use grew by a factor of 3.
The drastic changes in interest rates resulted in a 3-fold increase in the number of people unable to keep up their mortgage repayments.
The estimated number of stars in the Milky Way has been revised upwards in light of recent discoveries.
The weather patterns have deviated from the norm in recent years.
Sales fluctuate from month to month.
Interest rates have seesawed all year.
Share prices have been erratic this last month.
B. More expressions for describing statistics and numbers.
When the different amounts were added up, the aggregate was £600,000.
I've aggregated all the figures.
The finance minister said the July rise in inflation was only a blip.
There seems to be a correlation between mathematical and musical ability.
The percentage of GDP expenditure which goes on education varies considerably from country to country.
There's a discrepancy between our figures and yours.
The ratio of men to women in the engineering faculty was 3-1.
The company's figures were found to be flawed, and the accountant was fired.
She suffered multiple injuries in the accident.
Our data are inconsistent with yours.
C. Assessing quantity.
Let me give you a ballpark figure of how much money we expect to make this year. If I tot everything up, we begin to run into 6 figures. There are a lot of variables and our projected figures may not be all that accurate, so I've erred on the side of caution and I've rounded things down rather than up in order to give you a conservative estimate.
A. Permitting and agreeing that something may happen. Verbs. All these verbs are formal and many are typically found in newspapers.
Exceed, accept, but often associated with initial unwillingness. For example, the factory owner acceded to the workers' demands. Acquiesce, permit something to happen, but often associated with a degree of secrecy or conspiracy. For example, the foreign minister acquiesced in the plan to restrict imports from certain countries. Assent, agree to something, often associated with plans, proposals, ideas, and so on. For example, the shareholders assented to the takeover. Authorize, give official permission. For example, only authorized people are allowed entry. Condone, approve or allow something which most people consider to be wrong. For example, the judge condoned the use of reasonable force by police officers. Countenance, consider giving assent or permission, often used in negative contexts. For example, No government would ever countenance abolishing taxes altogether. Endorse. Give official approval to something. For example, the Cabinet has endorsed a proposal to change the way universities are funded.
B. Permitting. Phrasal expressions.
The committee have been given carte blanche to investigate the problem and come up with a solution.
The city has given the go-ahead for the new car park. The city has given the green light to the new car park.
C. Prohibiting and disapproving. Verbs.
Bar, officially exclude, forbid someone access to something. For example, 3 students were barred from using the library because they had damaged books. Clamp down, use your full power to prevent or limit something. For example, the government has decided to clamp down on illegal immigration. Outlaw, make something illegal. For example, Parliament has passed a bill outlawing smoking while driving. Veto, use your official power to forbid. For example, the President has vetoed the plan to open membership of the club to the public.
A. Expressions connected with complaining. It is important to use these expressions in appropriate situations. Some examples are given here. The expressions in each group go more or less from weaker to stronger, but much depends on who you are speaking to and what the situation is. More common in informal situations. You've got to do something about that window of yours. It rattles in the wind and keeps me awake.
For goodness sake, I'm fed up with all your moaning and grumbling. Cheer up. For goodness sake, I'm sick of all your moaning and grumbling. Cheer up.
Look here. I've just about had enough of your stupid comments.
Look, this is just not on. You promised to be here by 2 o'clock and it's almost 3.
Enough is enough. Please, no more arguments. Be nice to each other. More neutral in tone. I'm not at all satisfied with the service I've received.
Something will have to be done about that pile of rubbish. It can't be left in front of the house.
I wish you would turn your radio down. I wish you wouldn't play your music so loudly.
You never help around the house. It just won't do. You're going to have to change your ways.
More common informal situations. Typically in connection with bad service or behaviour. I wish to complain about the delay in delivering my order.
The carpet in my room is stained and dirty. This is most unsatisfactory.
I take great exception to your unfair comments about our committee.
I really must object to being made to wait so long before seeing the manager.
The water pipe you have repaired 3 times in our kitchen is leaking again. This is simply unacceptable.
Your bus driver left the children by the roadside in pouring rain with no adult in attendance. This is shameful.
B. Verbs and nouns relating to complaining and protesting.
Complain about. Express dissatisfaction or annoyance. Noun. Complaint. Protest about. Strongly express complaint, disapproval or disagreement. Noun. Protest. Object to. Be against something or someone. Noun. Objection. Remonstrate with somebody or remonstrate about something. Complain to someone or complain about something. Noun. Remonstrance. Very formal and not common. Find fault with. Criticize or complain about even small mistakes. Noun. Fault finding. Grumble about. Complain in a quiet but angry way. Noun. Grumble. Gripe about. To complain continuously. Noun. Gripe. Grouse about. To complain. Usually often. Noun. Grouse. whinge about. Complain persistently. Noun, whinge, whinging.
A. Apologies and excuses. Collocations.
Collocation. Sincere, heartfelt. Noun, apology. Collocation. Good, perfect, lame, flimsy, weak, convincing, detailed, phony. Noun, excuse, explanation. Collocation. Cast iron, convincing, perfect, phony. Noun, alibi. Collocation. Flimsy, false. Noun, pretext. He offered his most heartfelt apology for having offended everyone.
It was a rather lame excuse, and nobody had really believed it.
The police were convinced the suspect's explanation was phony, but could not prove it.
The police questioned her about the murder, but she had a cast iron alibi. She had spent the whole day teaching at the local primary school.
He got an interview with her on the rather flimsy pretext of being interested in her research.
B. Regretfulness in legal contexts.
Crime Watch.
When he was pronounced guilty of fraud, Jack Mosley showed no remorse whatsoever. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison. All three of his companions who were on trial with him were acquitted of the crime and walked out of the courtroom free. Mosley later repented whilst in prison, and his sentence was reduced by 1 year. The President issued a posthumous pardon to the man who, it seems, had been wrongly accused of treason.
The Committee of Inquiry exonerated the minister from all responsibility for the disaster.
The condemned man received a last-minute reprieve the day before he was due to be executed.
It is hard for the victims of crime to forgive and forget. C. Peace and reconciliation. Treaty. Written agreement between two or more countries. For example, the two nations signed a peace treaty in 2014. Armistice. Agreement to stop war while peace discussions take place. For example, the generals from the opposing armies declared an armistice. The generals from the opposing armies signed an armistice. Truce. Agreement between two enemies to stop fighting for a period of time. For example, the two fighting politicians called a truce, agreeing to put their differences behind them for the good of the country. Accord. Official agreement, especially between countries. For example, there are fears that the current period of accord between the two sides in the civil war is at risk of collapsing. Ceasefire. Agreement to stop fighting in order to allow discussions about peace. For example, both sides have agreed to a ceasefire while talks are underway. A. Collocations with compliment and praise. The boss would get better results if she paid her staff compliments occasionally.
He asked us what we thought of his suit, but he was really only fishing for compliments.
Take it as a compliment that he feels relaxed enough to fall asleep at your dinner party.
A backhanded compliment and a double-edged compliment are ones that appear to be both positive and negative. Backhanded compliments tend to have a malicious intent, whereas double-edged ones are usually made innocently.
I took it as a backhanded compliment when he said I was looking good for my age.
She paid me the double-edged compliment of saying my driving was pretty good for a beginner. The phrase give praise to is usually used only, though not exclusively, for a god. An action or person that deserves praise is praiseworthy, and people are praised for their actions. Other common collocations are widely or highly praised, praise to the skies, to sing someone's or something's praises, to shower or heap praise on someone or something. To damn someone with faint praise is to praise with such a lack of enthusiasm that you give the impression of actually having rather negative feelings. B. Other expressions relating to praising.
Pay tribute to. Praise. For example, at the memorial service, I paid tribute to his kindness. Give someone a standing ovation. Stand up and clap loudly for a long time. For example, at the end of the concert, the audience gave the young pianist a standing ovation. Extol the virtues or benefits of. Praise highly. For example, at the conference, the Prime Minister extolled the virtues of the new trade treaty. Be the toast of. Be admired for some recent achievement, often used about artists and celebrities. For example, a few months ago, hardly anyone had heard of her, but now she's the toast of Hollywood. Pat someone on the back, or give someone a pat on the back. Praise, often children, used mostly metaphorically. For example, my teacher patted me on the back for my good marks in the maths test. My teacher gave me a pat on the back for my good marks in the maths test. Earn or win plaudits. Get positive comments. For example, the exhibition earned plaudits from all the major reviewers. Laud. Adjective laudable, of behaviour, and laudatory, of comments or remarks. Praise highly in official situations. For example, the Prime Minister has lauded the new peace initiative. These mostly informal expressions imply praising someone for your own benefit. To flatter, to make up to crawl, to suck up to lick someone's boots. Someone who behaves like this can be called smarmy, slimy, or a crawler, all informal. A flatterer, neutral, or servile, obsequious, more formal. Flatter can also be used more positively. That dress flatters her figure. The noun flattery is often used in the phrase, flattery will get you nowhere.